very warm welcome to Wesley Impact. In my thought for today, I'm going to be taking a further look at the life of John the Baptist. We're also going to look at Wesley Mission's Guinness World Record attempt during Homeless Persons Week. And we meet a guy who also likes a challenge for a cause. Andrew Linga joins us to talk about Challenge for Change, a Christian aid organisation funded by monies raised in ambitious and, dare I say, sometimes quirky sponsorship-style events. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Look, I want to first of all ask you a little bit about Challenge for Change. What is it about?
Challenge for Change exists primarily to raise monies and awareness for children who are in need in the country of Zambia. Goes to an organisation called Eagle's Wings.
And so what was this Guinness World Record? Let's get that one out of the way. What was it all about?
Okay, I attempted to beat the world record, and it was a world record of 180 kilometres of riding a bicycle backwards. Backwards means I sat on the handlebars of the bicycle, facing in a reverse direction, pedalling in a reverse style, and I had to do that for a distance of 180 k's to beat the existing record, and I had to do that within 24 hours. I was successful, and I managed to do a total of 337 kilometres.
So how much preparation did you do for that?
It was about 12 weeks, 3 months before the event, where I perused the records in the Guinness World Record there to see what a guy like myself could come up with. And really that's my best effort, is to choose something, and about 12 weeks of preparation. And
you've got to keep your concentration going, haven't you, during that
time?
Oh,
absolutely. It's a lot different than riding a bicycle forwards. You can tend to switch off and just cruise, but riding a bicycle backwards, and I've been telling people, it's a little bit like reversing a car trailer. You've got to sort of turn left to go right and so forth. So yeah, a fair bit of concentration.
Gosh. Now, you're a school chaplain, so presumably this was very exciting for everybody in the school, was it?
Yes, very exciting. Lots of support from my school community, and lots of high fives from the children once I did do the record.
And probably one of the biggest lessons from that was that you could do something like this to actually make a difference in Africa.
Absolutely. Who would have thought that riding a bicycle backwards would actually help vulnerable children in Zambia? It's just an amazing thing where two of those things can sort of come together.
And when you say vulnerable, what does that really mean? Spell it out.
Okay, Eagle's Wings is a school and educational facility where it provides education for children who are orphans, children who have got no parents. Most of the children that are in our school are children that are living on the streets. So we're basically going into the communities, finding children who are living in oppressing conditions, and then getting them into a school and giving them an education, which is everything in a third world country like Zambia.
And presumably in the sunny state of Queensland, this is a very different world. So it's a good educational Christian communication to your kids at school.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just to let the kids know that there are children in the world who've got things very, very different, and we're able to do something about it, and they've been very supportive.
And is this a Christian school then out there in Zambia?
It is absolutely Christian, so they're getting an education, but I guess the extension of that is that they're learning the good news about Jesus.
And being able to combine, I always like to talk to people, it's a very Wesley Mission theme for us, combining word and deed. So we're sharing the good news of Jesus, but actually doing something about the world in which we live. Now, we're going to come back in just a few moments and talk a bit more with you, but I've got some special guests on the show, and they're a little bit different than usual, because it's not just an individual, it's a whole choir. That's exciting. Soul Food Choir began in Sydney way back in 2004, and almost 10 years on, the group has now grown to 50 members, and they range in age from 18, well, I won't tell you the top number. And as we draw closer to Christmas, I hope you enjoy Little Drummer Boy.
Come, they told me, a newborn king to see, our finest gifts we bring, to lay before the king, so to honor him, when we come,
Keith Garner's new book, A Word for the World, is now available. Dealing with the 4 themes of success, sorrow, society and spirituality, the 16 sermons in this book will definitely inspire and challenge you as you read. The book also includes a DVD featuring interviews with Nick Farr-Jones, Lee Hatcher, Tanya Plibersek and Margaret Somerville. For more information on A Word for the World, please contact us on 9263 5555 or at impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
Well, that music was great, wasn't it? If you'd like to know more about soul food, details are going to be on our website all this week. Now, I'm back now with school chaplain and Guinness World Record holder Andrew Hillinger. Andrew, you're interested in Challenge for Change due to its particular Christian roots. So tell us a bit about your own journey.
Myself was brought up in a Christian home. I would say I've been a Christian all my life. I have values and beliefs that as an adult, going from a young person to an adult, I've now cemented in my life, and I live those values and beliefs, and I really enjoy it. So no wild transformation or wild testimony, but I feel like I've just had solid values and beliefs installed in my life, and I'm choosing to live them out.
Look, I think it's important to hear that because, you know, you don't have to be a bank robber that you're suddenly transformed into something else. And it's also an encouragement probably to Christian people that if you can, with your own kids, can actually point them in the ways of Jesus and allow the Christian faith to be a natural expression of your life, that it can make that much of a difference. It is.
It is like the sweetest spot in life when you can live your values and your beliefs and have that peace that, you know, you're doing it for a kingdom purpose. It's great.
Now, down here in New South Wales, you were in Sydney for a number of years. What was it you were doing before you were school chaplain?
Well, before getting into school chaplaincy, I worked in corporate world, Strathfield company, which was pretty big in New South Wales, but it was also in Queensland. I spent 13 or 14 years in the corporate world, just doing something very mainstream. And then at one stage sort of made a decision that what I was doing was not, it was fairly shallow and superficial. And by then I'd realised some of the talents and gifts that God had given me, and I chose to pursue to use those in areas where I could serve kingdom, I guess. Yeah,
and what do your colleagues think then? Because presumably it's not as highly paid being a school chaplain as it would be in the corporate world.
No, my colleagues, my peers just thought I was crazy to leave a very high paid job to go and pursue a job which just didn't look like it would make sense. So yeah, almost scoffed at.
And in a way, it's become a family affair for you, and you're all involved, aren't you?
Yeah, every day we're part of our school community. I work at Livingston Christian College, and my wife works there. My 2 children go there. My eldest son graduated there. We love the school. We love the environment, and we love what it stands for.
And what is it most of all that gives you the deepest satisfaction?
I just seeing the ongoing love and care and commitment and nurture that comes from a Christian school. And the support that I get from my colleagues, from my peers, to see young children turn into young adults who are growing their faiths and their beliefs.
And it's in an area that is fast growing. We talked before the programme, I mean, the school has grown from a tiny number, hasn't it, to 900?
Yeah, 900 students now. 10 years ago it had around 10 students. So we must be doing something right. So it is exciting to be part of something that is evolving.
And also, probably, this would need to be said too, in Queensland, a very much a growing population as well. So it's that kind of thing. So it's important to have those schools, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. People need to have those options.
So do you see this as investing in a way in the future in the kids' lives?
Absolutely. It's an honour. It's actually an honour to be in that position where you do spend day and day in and out with children, parents and my peers. Yeah.
Look, I've often had conversation with people about teachers, doctors, people in our community that contribute. And one of the sad features in recent years has been the lack of, shall we say, honour that's given to these important professions and the difference they make to people's lives. So it's always good to see people who are passionate about their teaching. Is that important, that passion?
Yes, it is. The passion gets combined with humility and humbleness, because you often don't get to see the reward, but you do make the investment day after day.
I sometimes think teaching is a little bit like, if you like, the sower and the seed in practice in a way, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You have to kind of acknowledge that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what about plans for the future?
There'll be more backwards riding. Stand by. Yep. There'll be more. There's been a great response, and we're hoping to do more work with Eagles and Challenge for Change. So there'll be more backwards riding.
I remember seeing some clowns doing that in a circus event, and people looking at it and thinking. And I realised at the time that ain't easy to do. You know, it's much. They're all laughing and that, but it ain't easy to do. You know, and it may be an Olympic event yet before you.
Don't think so.
Look, we're going to be back in just a few moments, but thank you for giving us the time and telling us a bit, not only about that Guinness World Records, but your passion to invest in children and young people and make a better world in the future because of that through Jesus Christ.
Thank you.
It's been 200 years since the first Methodists met in Australia. To celebrate 2 centuries of faith and pioneering care, CEO and presenter Reverend Dr. Keith Garner takes us back to where it all began.
But we don't begin here at the heart of London. We begin in a town in the north of England.
In this fascinating narrative, Reverend Garner chronicles the history of the life and times of the founder of Methodism, John Wesley. This fresh and thought-provoking documentary takes us on a journey throughout the United Kingdom, beginning in John Wesley's hometown of Epworth.
John Wesley was born here on the 17th of June, 1703.
This 1-hour DVD travels onto his education years and beginnings of social justice in Oxford, to his final years in London. For more information on John Wesley, the man and his mission, call 02 9263 5555 or email us at impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
It's hard to believe, but it's true that there are now over 105,000 Australians without a safe place to sleep at night. In our latest Wesley Mission report, we discovered that an incredible 17% of homeless people in Australia are under the age of 12. Earlier this year, Wesley Mission powered through on its own Guinness World Record attempt, helping to raise vital awareness and funds to help Australia's homeless. Let's take a look together at Haircut for Homelessness campaign. Haircuts for Homeless is really happening during this special week of Homelessness Week. That's the really important thing. And what we're doing is trying to break a Guinness World Record, which really amounts to cutting over 360 heads of hair during the day. And if we do so, we'll be able to highlight, we'll be able to raise money for homelessness, but we'll be able to also highlight the importance of this week.
It's a fantastic concept. It's raising money for Wesley Mission, and it's also promoting the hairdressing industry, and the crew out there are doing a wonderful job. It can't just be taking just the hair straight off the bottom. It's got to be a proper style cut. So it must have 2 centimetres and it must have 7 centimetres on the hair to start with at some point, and we've got the ruler out to make sure that happens.
My name's Sam, I'm from Westlake, South Australia, and I've been working with Just Cut for about 18 years, and I saw this chance to help the homeless and come over to Sydney, anything for a party. And my mum actually has been used Wesley when she is disabled, and thought it was for a good cause and to be part of a record-breaking ceremony, hopefully at 5 o'clock this afternoon.
We love the concept and we wanted to partner with Wesley Mission because we believe in it. I think we want to do all we can to alleviate homelessness, and one of the things that really got us, most of the team at Hope 1032 have kids themselves, and we heard the stat, there's around about 17,000 people who are under the age of 12 and living on the streets, and for us that's just unacceptable.
One of the first things that happens if you're homeless is often it's things like haircuts and what people consider luxuries that go in your life. So if today we can actually say to people, this really is important because it says dignity and worth.
We just met Jesse, he was riding around on the street. What he actually asked for was not the Matt Damon or even the George Clooney haircut. He wanted the Snoop Dogg haircut of all things, is that right?
It looks good, yeah. I'm happy. I've been on the street since I was 13. I was in an orphanage for a while, but I didn't stay there. Living on the street, I still sometimes do some work, because I don't get Centrelink.
It's so awesome, there's such a good vibe and it's great. It's so good to raise awareness for the homeless, so it's great.
We've always got to look at new ways of actually raising the profile of what we do. And social media has been an important part of making sure that this message has got out.
Oh, being able to just use your passion and your enthusiasm to do so much more than you can in a salon and then raising all the awareness at the same time just sounded like so much fun. So much fun. So I get in trouble at work for cutting too far, so this is the perfect place for me.
Great cause and just a really smart idea to get people involved and spread the message about helping out Wesley Mission.
And I think it's amazing, it's a very good job. You guys are doing a really good job.
So I'm continuing with John the Baptist. We met him at the outside of Jesus' ministry at the very beginning, and we move the clock forward and find him now in prison. So let me read from Matthew 11. I'm reading verses 2 through to 6. When John, who was in prison, heard about the deeds of the Messiah, he sent his disciples to ask him, "Are you the one who's to come, or should we expect someone else?" Jesus replied, "Go back and report to John what you hear and see. The blind receive sight, the lame walk, those who have leprosy are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the good news is proclaimed to the poor. Blessed is anyone who does not stumble on account of me." Well, it's a very practical thing that's been expressed here. We find that one of the things that is happening is that it is the deeds of Jesus that are so very, very important. The blind, the lame, the lepers, the deaf, and even the dead. Those are the signs of the kingdom. Those were the things that John would pick up, having heard the news that somehow Jesus was being active in his ministry, and they'd be concerned about it all. So he finds out. The good news is heard by the poor. That's more than just the deeds. It is actually the articulation of what it was that he was about. And there's evidence in itself for John's disciples to return to John the Baptist, who was fearless himself. And they needed to be certain at that time. Remember, he's imprisoned, he's in a difficult position. And in one sense, the answer of Jesus could appear to be a disconnect with John's question. But it's not, because it's what they see. It's what they can see in tangible ways that make sense of the kingdom of Jesus. However, what Jesus is doing is giving a new way to interpret his kingdom. It could be that Jesus is saying to John's disciples, if you want to know what is happening, look. One last thought in connection with John the Baptist comes a little later in the passage, and let me read to you from verse 11 as I turn here. Truly, I tell you, among those born of women, there was not one risen among who is greater than John the Baptist, yet whoever is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. Now, the word risen is exclusively used about prophets. This isn't the risen from the dead. This is somebody arising in the midst of people. And prophets that were said to have risen in a community to prominence. And certainly, Jesus here talks about John the Baptist in a very, very special kind of way. John is on the very threshold of the kingdom. And John, in a way, has this very, very significant role because he is, if you like, one leg in the old and one leg in the new. He's really at that very, very important time. There had been something like 300 years of prophetic silence when nothing was said and it was quiet. And they were wondering, where is this kingdom that we've been longing for hundreds and hundreds of years? And now it's gone quiet. Then John the Baptist emerges, and it's a kingdom that is not restricted. It's a kingdom that's open to all. You see, there's something about John the Baptist that is quite remarkable. Just think of his ministry. There is something very simple, plain, direct, challenging. There's something about him that makes people sit up and listen to what he's got to say. And he finds himself so direct that eventually he's thrown into prison. And though we haven't the time now, we could add to this, his life, of course, ended up being given because of the truth and integrity of the man that he was. And he needed to be sure, absolutely certain, that Jesus was for sure the Messiah. And so when he sent his disciples to check out, if you like, Jesus, the very, very simple thing was said, just look around. Look at the people who are blind and they see. Listen very carefully to the testimony, the story that is given by the deaf who now hear, and by those people who find themselves cut off, who are now brought near. It's a marvelous testimony and story. It goes back to John the Baptist. Well, what does it do? I suspect for John the Baptist, it gives him a sense of assurance that there he is in prison, though he's in that difficult situation, he can at least know that Jesus Christ, whose ministry he is so very close to, is now well and truly about his mission, well and truly about the mission of sharing good news with others. And he who is the one who speaks the truth is the Savior not only of a restricted group, but Savior of the whole world. And together, John the Baptist and Jesus, their ministries not only overlap, but they certainly join in a very special way. So in this season of Advent, as we make our journey towards Christmas, we know for sure that Jesus Christ is our Savior, but we recognize that the preparation for that day, the preparation for the coming into the world of our Savior was not something done in a corner in a minute. It was something that was in God's heart, preparing through people. And it isn't just stories about shepherds and wise men. John the Baptist has a very special place in that story. For John the Baptist, remarkable as he was, is certainly worth noting, but Jesus Christ is the Saviour of the world.
If you would like to know more about today's topic or for more on Keith's message, contact Keith by writing to Wesley Mission, Post Office Box A5555, Sydney South 1235, or email impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
Many thanks for joining us. It's always a joy to share the day with you. And we leave you with Tanya G singing Silent Night. See you again next week. Until then, goodbye and God bless you.